Hey, what is up everyone? Sea of Thieves Season 11 is finally here, and in this video we're going over everything you need to know about it. So like we do every month, we're going to go over through more of the interesting things that are from the patch notes, things that we may not have mentioned from before. So let's go over some of the general stuff. So the first we have is Sea of Thieves On Demand. So this is the big headlining feature for Season 11, and it allows basically all the voyages and basically all the content in the game to be accessible all from your ship. So going to the quest table on your ship will now give you the ability to choose any voyage, tall tale, or the new raid voyages, and allow you to complete this content without having to go to any outposts or anything to start. Raid voyages are pretty new. They are basically trading company themed versions of world events with unique treasure on offer and can be unlocked by completing company ranks. I have a video here that you can watch that explains everything you need to know about those. Another new change is that now you actually earn a little bit of reputation when you complete any voyage. So this will be pretty nice. It will just give you a nice little bump to help progress even further. The majority of the trading companies have also had their level cap released to level 100, and then reaching level 100 now unlocks a distinction, and there's 5 levels of distinction that you can complete. If you're a newer player, there's also new tutorial voyages led by the Pirate Lord that covers the Gold Hoarders, Merchant Alliance, and Order of Souls. These can be visited at any time from the quest table. Moving on, we have Season 11 rewards. So of course we got a new Plunder Pass, which you can watch my before you buy video here, as well as a free Season Pass, which has some really cool like Medusa looking like serpent cosmetics, so I'm really into that stuff, as well as some new Emissary Ledger rewards, and these Emissary Ledger rewards look pretty cool. We got some changes with the Chest of Fortune. The Chest of Fortune has now moved over to the Skeleton Fleets and is now called the Fleet of Fortune. And these Skeleton Fleets encounters are signified by a glowing red cloud in the sky when active. You can also now earn the next grade of the Fortune's Favor commendation by turning in Chest of Fortunes, which will give you access to the Fates of Fortune cannon, flag, capstan, and wheel. Likewise, turning in Reaper chests will now unlock you the Fate of Fortune Blunderbuss and Eye of Reach. So some cool new cosmetics that you can try to earn this season. Moving on to gameplay improvements. These are the ones that Rare didn't really talk about too much, but I think are pretty interesting. So first, it talks about improved hit markers. Players now have further control over the hit markers shown when striking targets with a projectile weapon. The game setting now enables switching from the existing client predicted markers to server confirmed markers, which only displays hits confirmed directly by the server for improved accuracy. So if you'd rather see what is actually being registered in game, you can switch this setting over. But that means like if you shoot someone, it won't show the marker if it, is the hit reg is messed up. This is really just more for your understanding and not really fixing any of the current issues in the game, but I think it's a welcome change. Whether or not I'm going to switch my hit markers, I'm not sure yet. Moving on, we have bounty voyage improvements. These I think are really interesting. So there's a new Order of Souls bounty voyage, which now tasks players to go hunt down a skeleton lord, which will drop dark relics. You can also now complete ghost ship voyages inside the Devil's War. Bounty contracts now also provide landmark locations of the target along with the island to help guide players to the correct location. So you'll basically see a symbol to represent that island as well, just to help make it more clear where you're supposed to go. You'll also find that all the difficulties for all the bounty voyages have been rebalanced to make it more satisfying to play. Another thing I'm really happy for is with emissary voyage improvements. Emissary voyages have been improved for each trading company with focus on reduced sailing times and smaller quantities of high value treasure to transport. This should hopefully help refresh the gameplay and deliver more improved rewards for participation. Upon reaching emissary grade 5 for a trading company, crews can now head to Moorspeak Outpost and speak to the company representative for an emissary voyage in the Devil's War, which will earn you a little bit more reward because it's going to be ashen treasures. Another big change that people should know is that emissary voyages are now lost if the ship sinks or the emissary flag is lowered at the outpost. So sometimes players would typically get to grade 5, get their emissary quest, and then lower their flag. If you do that, you will lose your emissary quest, so that's very important to keep in mind. There are some improvements to the merchant cargo runs. So first, delivery notes on cargo now will provide care instructions to help you know what you're supposed to do to take care of these cargo. Cargo Ruin quest will now also tell you how many items need to be collected and where to collect them, ensuring that they pack all the necessary items before sailing. This will also have supporting information on the delivery note as well. And then finally, a big one I think, cloth crates being held while swimming on the surface will no longer become drenched, which I think is going to be a great change, because before you used to have to basically find like a dock or somewhere and bring your ship really close and then harpoon them all onto your ship. Now, as long as you keep them above water when you're swimming, they shouldn't become wet or drenched. We have some more improvements to the Merchant Alliance voyages with the merchant contracts. Now contracts to recover specific animals now show players which island they need to head to in order to fulfill the contract. I think this is a big help, because I remember originally doing these and not knowing where to go. It just says get these animals or whatever, and you're just like, well, where the heck do I find these things? So this should be very helpful. Crews will now also be able to recover the required animal crates from the beaches of the contracted island. So rather than having to get them from the merchant, when you go to the island that it says to go to, you'll find the crates just sitting there on the beach. So that's pretty interesting. You'll also now find that when you go to one of these contracted islands, you'll no longer have emergent skeleton encounters. So there was situations before where these skeletons would pop up and basically kill the animal that you have through crossfire. So that should now not happen anymore. There's some improvement to treasure vaults, which I love the treasure vaults. Treasure vaults will now scale the amount of time that you can be in there before the door closes based on the size of your crew. So if you're a smaller crew, you'll have more time to collect treasure, which is great because it used to be somewhat difficult as a solo player to try to get everything. Treasure vault quests now send crews to the nearest possible vault once the totem is recovered. So rather than before we would just choose like a random vault, now you'll get whatever vault's closest to the island you're currently at when you finish the voyage. The braziers surrounding the vault's altar are now extinguished over time as an indicator of how long the crew has left before the door is shut. So this will basically, if you keep track of it, you'll kind of know how long you have. Basically the lights will go out over time. There's been some other changes with emergent enemies in the world. So you'll find skeleton encounters have been rebalanced to be a little bit more fun. And then also it's balanced based off the crew size as well. So the bigger the crew, the more ambush skeletons to fight. You'll also find that phantoms now that are emergent in the world will only spawn at night, which I think this is a nice change. I think phantoms really only should spawn at night. And it'll get annoying when you have like phantoms, ocean crawlers, and skeletons all fighting you at once when you're just trying to do a regular voyage. Message in a bottle rewards. So quests from a message in a bottle now are significantly more rewarding and likely more valuable than the voyage already underway. So be sure to go exploring and you'll be handsomely rewarded for your time. These quests also have been refreshed with a focus on reduced sailing time and small quantities of higher value treasure to transport, improving the overall experience. So those message in a bottle rewards that you always see like on the beach and stuff should be a lot more interesting to do now. Skeleton Captain rewards. Defeating a Skeleton Captain now yields increased rewards and ammunition with the potential to recover a Reaper chest, a Reaper bounty, gunpowder barrels, and ammunition stocked resource crates. These new rewards are also recoverable from the same island as the encounter. So I think this is all great stuff. I think this will actually make it that when you defeat a Skeleton Captain on just a random island or whatever, you'll actually want to go and dig up the treasure. So I think this is great. You'll now find that at shipwrecks there is better rewards that you can unlock from going to these sunken shipwrecks. So that's great news, I think. You'll also find that with the Ashen Guardian rewards, crews defeating an Ashen Guardian will now be rewarded with a map to an Ashen chest on the same island, along with a key to unlock it, so no longer having to seek out a keymaster to unlock these chests. That is perfect in my opinion and how it should be. The Captain's Bookshelf has had an update, so if you remember when we got Captaincy, basically the Captain Bookshelf was where you'd store all your voyages that were for just that captain ship. Now that voyages have basically changed and gone away and are now just part of the quest table, you can now put trinkets where those voyages used to be. So this is great. This just expands the amount of trinkets you can have. I believe you can have 6 trinkets now added on this bookshelf. Moving on to some outpost cosmetics. Now you can get the Mastro clothing set after unlocking the Artistic Souls combination. And if you don't know where that is, I'm pretty sure that's part of the Legend of the Seas accommodations under the Build Rat tab. So go check that out. I think that set looks pretty nice. We also got Season 4 Legacy Cosmetics. So cosmetics previously available during Season 4 have arrived in the outpost shops and can be exchanged for doubloons. players can now purchase the Wicked Web clothing set, along with a range of unique one-off items that were available during the season. Pirates can also purchase the Cursed Avenger Cutlass and Wand of Spyglass. However, the time-limited Siren's Wrath items will remain exclusive to players who played during Season 4. So we got some other updates with the Skull of Siren's Song. So now cosmetic rewards earned by completing the various accommodations related to this voyage will now be found at the outpost shops, along with the criteria needed to unlock them. So now you'll be able to basically track what you need to do in order to unlock these rewards. One downside of this change though is now you'll be required to purchase these rewards rather than automatically having them rewarded to you. I kind of like being automatically rewarded before, but I guess this is nice in case you want to see like how to actually get these rewards. The maiden voyage has had some visual improvements to make it look a little bit better. Same with Sea Rocks. Sea Rocks now have received a little bit of polish pass, with weathering and watermarks now added to the base of larger rocks to improve their blending into the seas. So I'm interested to see what these look like. I think that would be really nice to just enhance the visual quality of the game. With the introduction of on-demand voyages in Season 11, there are some legacy accommodations that have been retired, and their associated rewards are now unlocked via different means. So these include stuff like the Seeker of Lost Maps title, the Merchant's Adventure title, Seeker of Athena's Fortune, along other stuff. And if you want to see that full list, you can check the patch notes. But basically, these cosmetics and accommodations aren't gone completely. They're just unlocked a different way now. Along with that, there was a bunch of other little bug fixes, little tweaks in here and there, but really those were the main big things that you should know about with Season 11. Let me know your thoughts on all this and what's your favorite change added in Season 11. I'm really excited to try those raid voyages out, and if you want to learn more about those, definitely check out that video that I mentioned. And if you also are interested, you can check out my Before You Buy guide on the Plunder Pass and hear my thoughts on whether or not you should get it. But that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed, it'd be great if you hit the like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye y'all.